Okay, so good evening, and I'd like to welcome everybody to the 57th meeting of the 13th elected Town Council of Happy Valley Goose Bay. Before I start the meeting, I would like to send, on behalf of the Town Council, heartfelt condolences to our MHA, Perry Trimper, on the loss of his wife, his partner. It's a difficult time for him and their families as well. But Caroline was a very genuine, very sweet person, and very dedicated to different things in the community. And there'll definitely be a void and a loss for the organizations and groups that she supported. So we send our condolences to Perry, to Caroline's family and Perry's family, and our thoughts and prayers are with them at this time. All right, so before we start the meeting, I just want to advise that there is a sign on the door that says there's no recording with cell phone devices or recording video devices, as the meeting is live streamed. You all have an agenda in front of you. It's the 57th meeting. Accept a motion, or anybody have anything to add to the agenda? To the agenda? No? All right. I'll entertain a motion to accept the agenda as presented. Moved by Deputy Mayor Wallace, seconded by Councillor Brumfield. Discussion? Okay, all those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Passed. All right, welcome to the meeting. We have two delegations, my understanding is. First delegation is Tanya, I believe, yes, yep. All right, so welcome to Council Chambers. You're a friend, I guess, to Council Chambers. You know the procedures, Tanya. I'll just get Councillor Pomeroy to read just the briefing about delegations. So I'll pass the floor to him.
Thank you, Mayor. In order to ensure an amicable and respectful environment for delegates to meet with the Council, it is recommended that the public of Happy Valley Goose Bay notify the Chief Administrative Officer or their designate of their intention at least 24 hours before the meeting by providing their name, contact information, and a brief synopsis of the issue or concern they wish to raise. The CAO shall present the information to the Mayor and or Council before the Council meeting begins. The Mayor and Council retain the right to limit the number of delegates presenting during each Council meeting. At the time the delegate is accepted to present to Council, the delegate will be notified of a maximum 10-minute timeline to raise their concern. After the presentation, the Mayor and Council members may ask questions or make comments on the information that's presented. In consideration for the length of Council meetings, the delegate may request to bring forth their issue in writing. Such written presentations must include the name and contact information of the delegate and a brief synopsis of the issue or concern. The delegate accepts a 1-week response time to allow for the Mayor and or Council members or the Chief Administrative Officer to respond in writing. 13 Council respects our constituents' right to present their issues or concerns. In accordance with this policy, the Town of Happy Valley Goose Bay operates a respectful workplace, and all presenters and members of the public are reminded that any abusive or threatening behavior towards town employees or council will not be tolerated.
Thank you, Councillor Palmer. All right, so I'll invite Tanya to, and if you just say your name just for the records for the minute keeping.
Good evening, my name is Tanya Michelin. So I'll go ahead and get started, and I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the Council for being present this evening, every one of you, for all of the people here in the gallery that are here joining us, and of course the people that are joining us live. My purpose of being here tonight is to do two things. First of all, to get answers of where the money went last year to pay for my salary, which resulted in the termination of my position as the Municipal Enforcement Officer with the Town of Happy Valley Goose Bay. Secondly, is to inform the public, our community, and the residents of this town why my position was cut and the truth behind this termination. I want to make something very clear here tonight with all of you before I start this delegation, and that is, I don't want my job back. My days of keeping a seat warm here at the town are forever no more. I have served on council with this town when I was elected in 2014, where I chaired the enforcement committee and overseen the responsibilities of the municipal enforcement officer. I later was hired as the Municipal Enforcement Officer in June of 2023. My days of serving the town are over, and I will never apply for employment again with the town or run for an election with this town council. I was born and raised here in Happy Valley Goose Bay, where I take a great deal of pride where I come from and the community I was raised in. Over the past 30 years, I have traveled extensively through this country to follow my career with the Correctional Services of Canada in many different capacities. I've also worked with the Department of Justice right here in Happy Valley Goose Bay with different roles in this organization. My ultimate goal after all these years of working away from home was to come back here to bring the knowledge and the experience that I have gained over the years to help make our community safer and to help those that are in need. In May 2023, I applied in a competitive process that was advertised by the town of Happy Valley Goose Bay for one municipal enforcement officer. I was so excited for this position as I seen it as a perfect fit for me, given my background both professionally and personally. I was successfully screened in for an interview and later was offered a position as the MEO for the Municipal Enforcement Officer on May 31st, 2023. A few hours after I signed my letter of offer, which I accepted immediately, I was informed that there was a second person who was offered a position. I was notified that would be 2 MEOs, not just one as advertised. However, they were still waiting on the other individual to make a decision on the acceptance of offer. I was honored to fill the position and was committed to staying in this role until I retired here in my home community. I started my employment with the town in June of 2023 as one of the 2 MEOs and began the daunting task of cleaning up the mess that the previous MEO left behind. Starting to build a new focus, a new direction of where we needed to go as an enforcement department. I wanted our residents to see that we're here to work with them, to help them, and to do everything that we can to make this town a safer and a cleaner, more sustainable place to live. I took great pride in my work, and I was very humbled to be afforded the opportunity to fill this role. I remained in this position for approximately 1 month before the second MEO came on board with the town. I was thrilled to have a second person join me, as the amount of work that is required to fill this role is nearly impossible for one person to fill. Just to give you an idea of what's expected to perform as an MEO, we're responsible for dealing with complaints from residents in a timely fashion, investigate violations of municipal regulations and bylaws, issuance of tickets to serve orders on individuals and businesses on behalf of the council, property and building violations, and violations of bylaws. We are responsible for administering the town's taxi regulations through licensing, inspections, and maintain records of taxi drivers and taxi cabs. Assist with snow clearing efforts through the enforcement of town regulations, prepare incident reports and monthly reports for committee meetings and for council, and appear in court when directed, and to inspect municipal property to ensure security, patrol public property, and alert RCMP to any suspicious, questionable, or criminal behavior. Work many weekends for town events that require MEO presence, provide enforcement supervision and security, including crowd control, traffic control, emergencies, including fires, funerals, parades, and public gatherings. We also have to deliver educational public relation programs to accompany the mayor when requested for special events. You may wonder why I'm sharing all of this with you tonight. Well, it's very simple. The town council here believes that all this work can be done with one officer. There's no need for 2 officers, right, to conduct these duties. They can all be performed effectively by one individual. I question the council on this decision. Many of the previous MEOs have filled the role, have left the town, and advised management and council that there is a desperate need for 2 MEOs to fill the position as municipal enforcement in order to do the duties that are required. I would have to think that everyone here tonight would have to agree that this is the case. On February 12, 2024, I was asked to meet with my supervisor and the CAO at 2:30 p.m. by text. During this meeting, I was informed that the council had terminated one of the MEO positions due to budget constraints. My position was terminated, and I was given 2 weeks' notice. I was absolutely devastated. I was told by my supervisor and the CEO that it was nothing that I had done. My work performance was exceptional, and they were very impressed with my overall dedication and commitment to this role. Their hands were tied. This was a decision of our council sitting here right here tonight, and one that I will no longer and ever forgive. Later on, they provided me, my CAO and my supervisor, of an exemplary letter of reference for future employment endeavors, and I thank them for that. The CAO even found a way to support financially both the MEOs, but later was turned down by the council. Every single one of the council members here tonight were in agreement that one of us had to go. This council felt that if they did not terminate one of the MEO positions, they would have to increase property taxes even higher than they have already increased them. The remainder of my salary dollars for the next 4 months of the year is going to alleviate taxpayers not having to pay more taxes. I find this very hard to believe. I would like for the council to explain this to our residents, how they can justify that decision. My question to this council is very simple. What did you do with my salary dollars last year that was set aside to pay for 2 MEOs? All of a sudden, the salary dollars are gone, and this resulted in having to terminate a position. The HR manager that hired me last year informed me that there was ample funds to pay for 2 positions. What did you do with the budget for the MEOs, may I ask? Where did this money get spent last year when you hired me in May of 2023? And if you didn't have the money to substantially pay 2 of us, you should have never, ever hired 2. Are you not supposed to be responsible for the individuals who are committed to spending our tax dollars wisely? I question that, as I believe that if you were managing our budget wisely and effectively, one of our MEO positions would not have been terminated. To clear the air tonight, for anyone who is present or watching this meeting live, I was not fired from my position, and I certainly was not escorted out of this building by a staff member. I simply walked out of here on my own with my head held low in disgust and despair and utmost disbelief that this happened. My supervisor, Brad Butler, the fire chiefs of this town, and the manager for protective services, and our CAO, Nadine McCauley, are one of the best supervisors and managers I've ever worked for. They were always there to support us in our efforts. They did not micromanage us. They allowed us the space and the independence to create a new community-based approach for the enforcement department. We were well accepted by the community and received a great deal of positive feedback from residents who we encountered during our daily duties. I feel that this council has not only failed me as an employee, but you have failed this entire community as a whole. You have removed an extremely important position from this town that helps improve the safety and the security of everybody that lives here. The thousands of dollars that was spent to purchase specifically fitted uniforms and safety equipment for me personally, well, that's sitting in a box or a filing cabinet that will never be used again. The thousands of dollars that the council approved and supported for all the training that we take for the last 8 months in order to have the appropriate tools and skills necessary to perform our duties, well, that's just thrown out the window too, except for one MEO, of course. The formal uniform that was paid for by the town for special events was custom made for me. Over $1,000 will remain hanging on a coat rack in the office and no longer be used. This is just addressing the obvious waste of money that this council can no longer get back. There is more that I have not even mentioned here tonight. You lack financial competence, has failed so many people in this community, and I'm sure when you decided to terminate this position for the town, not once did you stop and think about the emotional, the physical, and the financial difficulties that you have created for me. You have shown me that your employees who work endlessly to help improve the community means nothing to you. Your agenda is more important than those individuals you are elected to serve for. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I don't want my job back, and that's not why I'm here tonight. I have a new job. It is to hold you accountable as a council to let our residents know the truth of what happened to the second MEO position for this town. You terminated as a council because you felt it wasn't important and it was no longer necessary. I know how things operate behind closed doors because I sat where you all sit tonight. I understand how financial operations work. And I know the expenditures, how they're facilitated and approved by council and by management. I hope after tonight that when you leave these chambers, that you will think about this and the future consideration of the impacts of your negligence to manage our town's budget and tax-paying dollars has on everybody. Terminating positions is not the answer. And to you, Mayor Andrews, my apology. You should be ashamed of yourself. I've seen you 3 times in the public since you terminated my position, and you blatantly disregarded me on every single occasion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tanya. The internal, we don't hear again here, the speaker, PA system. We're not hearing it here?
No, it's turned down.
It's turned down?
Because feedback on the
Okay, all right, okay. I was just to make sure everybody hears. Okay, thank you, Tanya. Next delegation is Travis. Mr. Ford, the microphone is yours, sir.
I can talk about so much that I had to deal with in this last 29 days. I've dealt with every type of pain possible, mental, physical, spiritually, just completely a mess. My body's been breaking down because of the high level of stress. I have a permanent cough for the last month. Even though I've done 135 sessions of therapy before this, all the skills I've acquired, I've done everything I possibly could to be a better person. And you guys made me feel like this. Why do you do this, Ella? Why do you do this, George? You guys are better than this. No shame at all? Come on, guys. Man, I'm on a regular dose of Ativan right now. You know how hard that is to get? They don't give that stuff out. I've got to have that here just to get through the day. Every day. Because of you making these decisions. I've tried to be a good guy this whole time. I tried to be pushed over, and all this stuff. I've tried to be nice. I tried to acclimate to everybody. I'm sick of it. This isn't how I am. I might be a nice guy, but I'm a good guy, but I'm not that nice. When I'm getting pushed over, when the community's getting pushed over, when Tanya's getting pushed over, we can't have that stuff. It's despicable. I'm on the maximum amount of dosage for my antidepressants now because I need that to function. Because I can't sleep, I can't eat. I've lost 25 pounds in this last month. 25 pounds. That's a sack of potatoes. That's a lot of rice. It's a lot of food. I can't do anything normally. I've been sick for 3 weeks. I've had a cough that don't go away. I have to change my bed sheets every day because I'm soaking through them because I'm having night terrors. Night terrors. What kind of stuff is that? Why would you do that to someone? Really? It's been a day short of a month since I've been ambushed to termination of my position. It's been 2 weeks. I spent the first 2 weeks in legitimate shock, ending every conversation like, why did they do this to me? And everybody asking the same thing. How could they be so cruel? I'm here today to just discuss the things I've had to deal with in this last month. Ultimately, I feel that this termination has been brought to me about 1 to 2 different people from who made this push for this devastating decision. George, I've heard, over this last month, people have been running to me, telling me about how you have an innate ability to alienate, condescend, and otherwise make people feel small. This has come from former counselors, co-workers, board members from the Coast Guard. I'm hearing all of it. That is not what a leader is. You do not do this to a leader. A leader is not that. To have, I was shocked initially, but as the stories drew consistent, they became consistent from reputable people that are willing to put their names on it. But it claimed that this is the truth and how it is. During the public meeting, you had the audacity to boo-hoo someone. To boo-hoo whoever booed in this room as you were walking in. Regardless of the intentions of that time, the boo-hoo, within minutes of having someone fired, lacks a great deal of self-awareness and a great deal of leadership. Someone in your leadership position should know better. There's a time and place for this, and this was neither the time nor the place. It hurts even more when I realized that you knew I was going to be fired before you said that. That hurts, George. That hurts a whole lot. I've yet to get any type of apology. This is the first time I'm seeing any of you in this last month. I voted for all of you. I made sure that you guys got in this place because I believed in you guys. Where's the empathy, man? I'm fucking crushed. I'm crushed. This as a mayor, you could have put kibosh to this. You could have did anything to remediate this. Myself and Nadine have been working on progress plans. But you're just going to do this as is. Whatever the issue is that can be corrected, I'm sure of it. A good leader would do their best to make sure that all of this can be improved. But I haven't heard anything. When you promised us better when you were elected, but this is not better. Ella, when you first moved here, you seemed like we were at a lot of the same events together. Over the last year, I haven't been invited out to many of those similar events now. Only to learn about, learning about how the things that after they had happened. I'd like to think I thought it was a coincidence at first, but now that I'm going through this, I've kind of learned that it isn't. That hurt, missing out on time with my friends and the time that I needed the most. When I got used to it, while I got used to it, it's nice to be a homebody now, but it sucked that it had to be this way. I've tried and tried and tried to get help from you. I was always left high and dry. It was like I've been put in situations where failure was the only option. That's what a lawyer told me. This job was set up for failure. I tried and tried to get help. You talked about your history and knowledge of sports management and all that stuff. I never got any of that. It's not fair to anyone, especially me. You know how committed I am to this community. I'm at everything. I'm at every school event. I'm at every public event. I'm at everything. I made sure that that's what the community got when they got me in this position. Just give me a chance to change that mind for you, please. Over this last month, I've heard a lot of negative things about Yella. A lot about alienating parents within sports groups, alienating different boards, signing up for boards but not committing to them, all those types of things. And I appreciate the effort, but when people come back to me and say she's not as involved as you think she is, it's kind of tough, and this is pretty consistent. And ultimately, I can only think that my termination has something to be pushed by either of you guys. It's something that's, it seems like that you guys have been working with lawyers since December, and, rather than working on an improvement plan that, myself and Nadine have been working towards. I feel like councilors were coerced to sign that motion. I don't think Denise signed that without coercion. I think that, it deflected away from you to sign as a second. Rather than, I'm sure that all the paperwork was done. All they had to do was sign. These motions don't write themselves. This isn't a situation that should have been handled like this at all. To Denise, to Hayward, to Todd, Jackie and Bert, I was there for each of you because I knew that each of you are everyday people, meaning that you truly contribute to the little communities within your town. You guys are part of this community in in the things that you help out, whether it's at the store, whether it's a dog park, or at a gym, in a running club, watching minor hockey. That's why I voted for you guys. You guys are, you know, you're out and about in the community. You matter. You know, no matter the company, you were there. You know, and that stuff, as a, you know, as someone as public as me, takes attendance of those types of things to see who really who really cares about these things. That's a true measure of character for me, and I see high character people all around this table. I felt bad for you guys when you had to vote a few weeks ago. I saw the concern, I saw the agony, I saw the pain in each of you. All of us were given, you know, while you may agree with the decision, this is not how you want to go upon it. This is not how you guys want to go upon it. I can correct any of these issues. You know, all of us are from the Valley. All of us, 5 of you guys, you know, you grew up in the Valley, you know what this is about, you know my family, you know both sides of my family, you know that, you may not know my parents directly, but you know whether these people, all the people that just live day to day, you know someone related to me, and you know that we're all good people. You know that they're here for fundraisers, they taught your kids, they'll take care of you when you go to the hospital, and that's all I ever wanted to do as well, just in a recreation setting. I may need guidance to get to where I need to be, but I believe that being a good person should come with some flexibility. A good person like myself always thinks for the greater good, regardless of the situation. Whether I'm new or experienced in a situation, I will always try to decide if it's best for the greater good of others, the community, because that's the best way to go about life. Having faith in the fellow man should be the greater good in this situation. Please have faith in me. This is all wrong, all of it. I should not have to plead for a job I worked so hard for, that I've earned, that when I accepted, someone said, "Are you surprised?" You know, I was shocked when I got the job, and the first thing someone said was, "Are you surprised? You're the best candidate." And, you know, I believe that now, and I think the town believes that. Between 700 signatures on a petition, the numerous letters, the emails, the Facebook posts, among other things, it's clear that I'm wanted in this position. This community trusts me with and that should be considered, because not many people have a 100% approval rating. It's been weird to get all this, you know, this approval, but it's been nice to know that people recognize my work. I could have been doing a lot more this month. You know, I'm missing out on so much, and it's so hard. I'm seeing, you know, I miss just being at the arena, you know, 3 o'clock when skating comes in or hockey comes in. I miss all that stuff. I miss seeing the parents, the grandparents, and the siblings, you know, come to the place, you know, come to my workplace. It means a lot to me. You know, I've had to go to the hospital because of this decision. I've spent 8 hours in an emergency because of how messed up I've been. You know, I've been having panic attacks for, you know, some last a half hour, some are 5 minutes, some are any amount of time, you know. It's not what I should be dealing with when I'm coming through here. I spent the last 2 years making this position, advocating for a safe workplace, especially with regards to mental health. You know, I've spoke to my managers directly over how I needed more clarity on some meetings and all this stuff, and they always fixed it. But, you know, over this last month, I have gotten none of that. You know, I've been left out to dry. I was told, you know, the only thing that I know is that, you know, it was said in this meeting was that it may say without cause, but it does not mean without reason. That lack of empathy is the opposite of what I needed last month. I needed you guys, and none of you were available. I've learned over this last month how much I'm loved. It's amazing to have the people so nice in parts of the world. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people have messaged me, called me, texted me, people I've never met before. All because they're worried about these types of things. I may, you know, whether it was being nosy or genuine, I appreciated it. I may be uncomfortable around you guys at times, but it's a me thing. I'm an anxious person at heart. It's all I know, and especially when there's meetings where there's a lot of yelling and over talking and stuff like that, huffing, puffing, all this type of stuff, it really makes it difficult for me to get anywhere in these meetings because I don't do well in loud and aggressive situations. I just never have. I've told, you know, If you told a few people about my past and who I am now, they wouldn't believe you. You know, maybe a few would, but maybe because they always saw the potential, but it wasn't always sure if I was get there. You know, I've always had trouble with public speaking. I would cry, I would get nervous, I would stammer. I was always trying to do my best. That scares me away from my anxiety. My love language is acts of service. That's all I ever want to do. I want to provide, I want to provide, I want to provide. It keeps the anxiety away, and this job keeps the anxiety away. If you give me a goal, I'll always achieve it. It's all I know. I'm competitive, I'm confident. I just need guidance. I'm coming to you as a human. You watch grow up. Who overcame his odds and got his dream job. Like really, I really wanted this job. This is my dream job. This is all I've ever wanted. Please don't take this career away from me and end it all for me. I'm getting to enjoy this happiness for the first time in my life. For 35 years, I was miserable. And now I'm okay. I don't want to let this go. I've come from undesirable to undeniable in 14 years. That's got to mean something, right? Please don't take this career from me. Please don't take it. It's all I wanted. It's all I have. Please do not base your decision on the 1 hour a month we meet. I'm anxious. I'm depressed. I'm neurodivergent in Oakman. That's still grieving his grandmother. I understand what people are going through all the time because I've been through it all. I want to be able to help because I'm mostly on the other side of that misery, and I know it gets better. Most places would do anything to keep a person like that around, right? Why don't you? Please don't take this career away from me. It's too hard. I worked too hard for this to reset now. I really don't know what I would do. I'm willing to work through all of this as I find it's worth it to me, you guys, and the community. So in a week's time, when it comes to you guys having to set this motion, please say no. I only need 3 of you. I only need 3 of you. Please don't take this away from me, because I don't know what will happen next if I don't. Thank you.
Thank you, Travis. Are there any further delegations? That's 2, is it? Okay. All right, so we have the agenda in front of us. The number 3, adoption of the previous minutes. 55th meeting.
You're not going to acknowledge this gentleman that just spoke?
As, yeah,
Just gonna
as,
go right on to the agenda, sir?
yeah. Unfortunately, as our process was read out earlier, we don't engage in debate. We don't engage, yeah, we don't, we, yeah, yeah. All right, so I'm following the policy that we have there. I'm very sorry. Thank you, Tanya. All right, so let's moved into the agenda.
Tanya, we don't debate, but we can certainly say thank you very much, Travis. Thank you very much, Travis.
All right, so we move into the minutes that are 55th meeting from February 27th, 2024. Motion to accept the minutes that have been presented. No one's? Okay, moved by Councillor Pomeroy, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wallace. Discussion? Okay, all those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? We've accepted those minutes. The minutes are before you for the 56th meeting, held on March the 6th. A motion to accept the minutes as presented. Moved by Councillor Winters, seconded by Councillor Rumbold. Discussion? Okay, all those in favor indicate with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Contrary-minded? Passed. All right, correspondence. I've been passed 2 pieces of correspondence, both from the Municipal Assessment Agency. They've been sent out to council. Basically, the first one is an update on the Municipal Assessment Agency. It seems like they've been doing some good work. And the second piece is the Board of Directors, as recently elected. And just to indicate that the Labrador Director is Councillor Deborah Barney from Lansalou. So if you have any issues with that. That's the only 2 pieces of correspondence, correct? Ms. Eddy? Yes. Thank you. All right, we'll move into committee reports, community planning and development. And I'll pass the chair to Councillor Compton Hobbs.
So the Community Planning Development Committee met on March the 19th at 4:45. Present was myself, Chair, Councillor Denise Rumble, Engineer Randy Dillon, GIS Tech Mark McCritis, Executive Assistant Kathy Eddy. Regrets from CAO Nadine McCauley, Councillor Bert Pomeroy, and Engineer Technician Mark Urquhart. Meeting was called to order at 4:43. There was no errors or omissions in the minutes. Some of the action items we discussed. Still waiting for a meeting with Nick Parrott to develop a policy around compliance letter. There was some discussion around spruce metal. Staff are still working on that. It's ongoing. The development amendment regulations, staff, it's ongoing. They will be advertising some of the regulations that we discussed in the next few weeks and bringing it back to the April meeting. We talked about the Valor Mortgage Specialist, that's Mackenzie Road. There has been a registered letter sent to the owner, and I believe that the engineer has since been to the property and has obtained some more information to work on that changing the numbers on Mackenzie Road, right, Trot?
Mackenzie and Meehan.
Yeah,
Yes, Mackenzie and Megan.
yeah, Megan, yes, yeah. So you're, well, okay, I'll talk about that after. The monthly permit updates, there was only one permit issued, new Crown land application. I'll be bringing that forward that we discussed. There was one that I was in conflict that will be brought forward. It wasn't discussed, but it was discussed by two councilors that will bring that forward. Another comprehensive development that we discussed around Plex housing, that one will be requiring more information around. And our next meeting was scheduled for Tuesday, April the 16th. I ask you, please accept my report as presented.
Okay, it's been moved that we accept the Community Planning and Development Report as presented by Councillor Compton Hobbs, seconded by Councillor Brumfield. Discussion? Okay, no discussion heard. All those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Passed. You have no recommendations from your committee, right?
I have recommendations.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Community Planning and Development, Crown Land Application 162399, Mom's Place. The Community Planning Development Committee recommends that council defer Crown Land's application 162399, located on Hamilton River Road, west of the hospital.
So it's moved by Councillor Compton Hobbs and the Community Planning and Development Committee that we defer Crown Lands application number 162399, located on Hamilton River Road, west of the hospital. Seconded by Councillor Rumbold. Discussion. Councillor Brumfield.
I'd like to ask the first question, because I'm against, but I read all the packages and everything is backed up on this one. You're deferring this application. They're trying to apply for land in the zone that's not approved for what they're trying to build. And now you suggest they come back to council and ask us to change the zone just to accommodate them. We've done that before. We've done that too many times, and really this is enough. If they don't meet the zone, we should not be accommodating people who change the zone just for them. That is my opinion. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Pomeroy.
Yeah, I agree with Councillor Broomfield. I mean, we have a zoning regulations put in place, our development plan is put in place, and every time that somebody wants something to go a certain way, they're coming to reapply to change it. We had a 3-year public consultation process developing those plans, and you know, why wasn't those issues raised during that consultation process?
Yep. Full. Yep, Councillor Brumfield. Or first off, is there anybody else that Councillor
I'll just
Compton
add
Hobbs?
that
I'll come back to you in a
The
second.
discussion we had in the committee was that they had previously applied with the older regulation, and since with the new regulation that zoning had changed. I don't know, Mr. Dillon, if you got anything more to add to that, but they had previously applied for this piece of land, right?
Yes, my information, council, is that this individual had applied for that particular piece of land under the old regulations, and it was approved. but apparently it lapsed. And between then and now, the zoning for that piece of
Changed.
land has changed.
Yes.
And this is where we're to now.
Okay. Yeah, and I agree with Councillor Pomeroy and Councillor Brumfield in terms of, the knee-jerk reaction of changing zonings. Then we go through this huge municipal plan process for 10 years. And it's a huge process. And yes, we understand, things change and that kind of deal. But to continuously look at changing our plan really puts that in question. Councillor Brumfield. Okay, sorry. Councillor Rumble first.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to say that my understanding from being a part of this meeting was that the rationale for deferring was so that that could be communicated to the applicant. Okay, you had applied in the past, you had been approved. During the time that your application had lapsed, there was a change. This is what it entails if you wish to, seriously pursue, so that the applicant was fully informed. I don't know if it was council is encouraging you to apply to have the zoning change, but it was we're gonna defer it so that the applicant has the full information instead of just saying.
Denied
So
it.
could I ask though, before, why why are we deferring? Why didn't you just not bring it to the table? Do that work behind the scenes.
discussion we had in the committee was exactly what you just said, was to give the applicant an opportunity to say,
Right.
if it was.
Right, but why bring it to council to defer it?
So that the applicant wouldn't have to reapply, so that their application, because if we deny, then they have to go back and reapply. So we wanted them to have the information. They may choose to pull their application once they have all of the information.
Yeah, right, but like I said, could that work be done in committee before we defer or
Yeah,
whatever?
why-
Councillor, go to Councillor Brumfield for a second time, and then I'll come back to you.
Okay, my first comment, again, going back to what everyone just said, I got two comments to make. We're changing our development regulations for someone on the north side, Canadian side, the old Canadian side, because we said, our employees said that kennels were not allowed there. We're changing these based on what employees are telling us to accommodate people who are coming before us. I don't think that's right. Because like I said, this here is a development regulations, been 10 years making, and you want to change this at the whim just to accommodate someone. No, I don't agree with that. My second point is what Councillor Copenhagen just mentioned. And basically, can you just reiterate what you just mentioned again, please? I did have something.
What was that?
You just mentioned something. I wondered.
I mentioned that we were gonna give them
The reason it was
advise them of
deferred.
the zoning change.
Yeah, no, okay, I know where I was going with this. And you said the councillors that, no, you're right, but you said, Councillor Rumble said that the councillors recommended she come back later. What I read in this package, the councillor didn't recommend nothing. The staff recommended that she come back and apply later to try and change the development regulations. That's wrong.
Yeah,
And
no, I think.
I tell you, I will not be supporting this, no ifs, ands, or buts about that one.
In the committee, what it was discussed was, because they applied before and were approved, to go back to advise them that the zoning has changed since.
Yeah, but this is the new regulations now. You developed a whole new regulations. You didn't omit things. You developed them to not put it in there.
Okay, Councillor Pomeroy.
Yeah, just to add on to what Councillor Broomfield, both councillors are saying, I mean, if the applicant, normally I would think the applicant would be informed that the application does not meet the
Absolutely.
zoning regulations.
Absolutely.
All you gotta do is
And,
look at
and
it as
then,
homes.
and then at that point, a letter be written back to the applicant explaining why, and provide them with options they can follow. I don't think it needs to come to a motion of council
But
until
do
that
you know-
decision is being made. There's no
I think it
decision.
would have to at some point, but the thing is that it's a crown land, so we're just a referring one, right? So it's a crown land, piece of crown land. I think in this case, the application should go back, we should deny the application because it doesn't meet zoning with that reasoning. Then if the proponent wishes to reapply with that, then that would be.
That was the whole
that would be it.
discussion in the committee,
Okay.
though, so that they wouldn't have to pay the fee on the application again. Advise them that the zoning has changed, then they could decide then if they wanna still move forward.
Yeah, if their other applications expired, I'm willing to bet you.
I do, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It was 2019, I believe, right?
So the only thing, just to be clear, the only thing that we're going to do by approving this motion is defer the application, defer the decision until next committee meeting, or next council meeting probably.
At which time staff are gonna reach out to them and let them know zoning has changed. Do you want to proceed or put in another application?
But
or
we haven't
go
changed
somewhere
no
else?
zoning yet, so you're changing to accommodate it already.
No,
Okay,
no,
yeah,
we
Deputy Mayor,
haven't
okay,
changed.
guys, Deputy Mayor, please.
I think that's the point I was going to make, is that we didn't change that in the last 2 years. So this is old, it's expired. The zoning hasn't just changed all of a sudden, so has anyone reached out to the applicant?
No, that's why.
How long does it take to pick up a phone or email them and tell them, or if your application comes in, it doesn't meet the requirement?
But this
think
is,
so,
this is a Crown Lands application.
Yeah.
We're only referring, so basically someone's asking to do this on a piece of Crown land. They can't do that right now because the zoning won't match. So we should just turn down that application. So why
Yeah,
would
I
we?
think the discussion that came to us from staff, like I said, was,
Mm-hmm.
so they wouldn't have to pay the application fee again, go back to them, tell them the zoning has changed.
Do
We
you
don't-
No,
should
no.
pull your
Do
application?
you
Okay.
wanna pull, or do you wanna look at another option or whatever, right?
But it still comes down to we can't approve it because it is a piece of Crown land. The only thing we're going to approve is Crown Lands allowing them, giving them the land.
But the
But-
discussion we did have, was that if the council agreed in changing that zoning, I mean.
Yeah.
if-
But that's a huge
That's a
conversation.
different thing.
Yeah,
That's a whole other.
that's a total conversation because
Well, it is.
right now, it's a Crown Lands application.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll come to you in a
It is a
second.
whole different
Yeah.
application, and we're going through amendments
Be-
now.
because
It takes
that-
months and months.
Yeah.
And that's what we said, right?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, right now, the application is for a piece of Crown land
Yeah.
that doesn't meet our zoning.
Yeah.
So whether that's there or anywhere else, I'm not really sure why I'm not sure if the proponent came in and wasn't told that the zoning was changed, or they didn't come in, they just went to Crown Lands and redone their application, or what it was. Councillor Palmer.
To our knowledge, from
Council-
the committee
Councillor
people,
Palmer, just one
so-
second. Yeah.
I just, I think we should get to the question, Your Worship. I mean, we're debating a motion now to deny. The motion right now is to defer, sorry.
Right.
So are we debating to defer, or are we just getting in a whole new debate?
I just want to make everybody clear, because if we defeat this one, does that mean that it's not deferred? Remember that, go back to that financial ones that we had?
I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know if we can make a friendly amendment to either deny or approve.
I think we keep it as deferred and let the staff go talk to them and.
I personally think this didn't need to come to council.
I don't either.
All right? If there was more information on an application that was required, then you would gather that information. For instance, the other one that's taken off, because there needs to be more information. So we didn't bring a motion to defer that one, right? So in this particular case, I mean, I have no issue in supporting it, to defer it, because at the end of the day, we're going to make a decision on it at some point in time before council, right? So I just want everybody to be clear on what the motion is. We're not voting to deny it. We're just voting to defer. So, any other further conversation that hasn't been held? All right. So I will ask for those in support of deferring the motion indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded. Councillor, okay. So motion is passed. So we will defer that application. Next one, please.
Mayor, the next one I have to declare conflict.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to declare conflict as well.
Okay, and the reason?
Involves my
We need the
employer.
reason. Councillor Compton House? I know what the reason is, but
Mine
just-
is because of, I'm on the board of the Housing and Homeless Coalition, just so
Okay.
the public knows too, it was not discussed in the committee meeting.
okay.
It was, handled by, Councilor Rumble and another
Okay.
councilor.
All right.
And
And
for me, the issue here is that my employer is directly involved in this issue.
okay, thank you, sir. Yep. So you're leaving the council area here. You're free to stay in the gallery. Okay. So who will bring? Okay, Councilor Rumbold.
Thank you, Mayor. So, just furthermore to what Councillor Compton Hobbs said, because this did come to committee, and of the 3 committee members, 2 were in conflict. This was discussed, we went outside of committee. So the recommendation that's being brought forward is MPA number 2 and DRA number 2, non-market housing. The Community Planning and Development Committee recommends that council support and approve the Happy Valley Goose Bay Municipal Plan Amendment Number 2, 2023, and Development Regulations Amendment Number 2, 2023, which takes into consideration the public input received prior to sending into the province for a Section 15 release.
Okay. It's been moved by Councillor Rumbold that the council recommend or support and approve the Happy Valley Goose Bay Municipal Plan Amendment Number 2 and the Development Regulations Amendment Number 2. Seconder? Second by Councillor Winters. Discussion. Councillor Broomfield.
My issue on this one here is basically I remember there was about 6 or 7 people who objected to this one, and all the people who did object to were basically the business people, which I'm all right with, and I have no problems with anyone objecting. Was that taken into consideration when you guys, well, I guess there was only yourself there, was it?
No, the information was forwarded on to other council. It was taken into, so this is, for the background on this, this is not brand new, right? This was sent out, the town collected public comments. The public comments were certainly taken into consideration. So a Section 15 review and release, we consulted with the planner, we consulted with staff, but in your council package, you will see that there was, because we don't always get feedback when we put these things in, so there was significant feedback, and the feedback was overwhelmingly in support of the amendments. The amendments that are proposed, in my own personal opinion, is something that will involve more community engagement and bring things down to a different level where there is, the greater community as a whole is taken into consideration before any proposed developments are made. So yeah, that was a big weighting. It was a big weighting. The letters that were received they did weigh heavily in the decision.
Okay, further discussion? Do you have anything else?
No, that'll do.
You're good now? Anybody else? Okay, all those in favor of supporting and approving amendments number 2 for both the municipal plan and amendments and the development regulation amendments. All those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded?
Contra?
Okay, motion's passed. Councillors can return if you wish.
I'd love to stay, but there's no chairs provided, and I've been standing for an hour, so
Okay.
I strongly feel unwelcomed. Goodbye.
Okay, Community Services and Recreation Committee. Councillor Rumbold.
Thank you, Mayor. The Community Service and Recreation Committee met on March the 12th, and the meeting was called to order at 4:44 p.m. Present were myself as chair, Deputy Mayor Ella Wallace, Councillor Hayward Broomfield, Director of Protective Services Brad Butler, Community Development Manager Greg Osmond, and Executive Assistant Kathy Eddy. Regrets were extended by CAO Nadine McCauley. The agenda was approved with 5 items added to other business. There were no delegations or presentations to the committee. The previous month's minutes were reviewed, and there were no errors or omissions detected. All action items were reviewed. Chief Butler has familiarized himself with outstanding items and will be working with CSR staff, the town engineer, and the community development manager to ensure all action items are completed for the next meeting. New business, the CSR committee had requested more information on the contract which had been entered into with Visual Sports. It was decided by committee that we consult legal to see if the contract is binding, as committee and the CAO were not aware of this 5-year contract and what it entails until almost a year after it had been signed. Other business, the Soccer Association banner. The Lake Melville Soccer Association has requested to post a banner in the arena in the same fashion as the Lake Melville Extreme Minor Hockey and Snowflake Figure Skating Club currently have in place. All were in favor of this task being completed. The association has been in discussions with staff about changing the net setup in the arena with the understanding that they will pay for any expenses incurred in making the change. Committee was also in favor of this. Committee suggested Chief Butler meet with CSR staff to ensure that they are aware of protocol for who to contact for day-to-day operations, building, and maintenance issues if needed. There was discussion about the upcoming Guns and Hoses hockey game between the firefighters and law enforcement, which will be supporting the Kids Eat Smart breakfast program. It was suggested that the Timbits hockey participants may be able to take part in between periods, and Chief Butler agreed to work with the Lake Melville Minor Hockey Association to see if this is a possibility. Not in my report, but to mention, the event begins tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. And again, all proceeds to go to the Kids Eat Smart breakfast program. Chair asked if there was any update on the issue of water pooling on the arena ice surface that tends to occur as temperatures begin to warm up outside. The town engineer had been working on investigating a solution. Chief Butler will follow up with him for an update. Arena flooring committee has been advised of the planned dates for the arena to change over from ice to turf to flooring. Both turf and the new blue flooring were previously placed at the same time. Arena staff has advised that during the placement and subsequent removal, some of the tabs on the interlocking floor have been damaged. Chief Butler will be speaking with arena staff to get their input on how this transition can be best achieved. There being no other business, the meeting was adjourned at 5:40 p.m. and the next meeting is scheduled for April the 9th at 4:30 p.m. I would like to submit my report as presented.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Rumbold that we accept the Community Service and Recreation Committee report as presented, seconded by Councillor Deputy Mayor Wallace. Discussion.
I have a question, or do we wait till after? Just a
Question on this or question?
No, not the report.
Okay, so just hold that, just park that for a sec. Any other discussion on the report? Okay, all those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Okay, your question, sir.
With regards to the nets, are they planning on putting them into the boards, or what was that discussion?
Yes.
Was put them?
Yeah, there is a plan that was the minors, well, I don't know if the Lake Melville Soccer Association and their executive have tried to formulate a plan to make it more user-friendly. They will pay for any expense incurred in making these changes, and they have to be feasible. So there was good conversation held between Chief Butler and I believe it's Mr. Hickey. And so they came up with what they think is a feasible plan to make the whole soccer experience, from what I understand, I'm not a soccer player, but to make it.
I'm just thinking of space.
And it was something that it was actually mentioned that when the Labrador Winter Games were on and they removed the boards for the stage and everything, that they kind of got a working feel for it. So it was something that has to work, and if there's any expense, it would be paid for and covered by the Soccer Association. And then when that soccer tournament when soccer's done, it has to be able to come back together the way it.
So what will that do for accessibility and things?
Yeah, that's right.
Because it'll take that 2 or 3 feet that everybody
Well,
walks.
more than 2 or 3 feet. It'd be quite a bit.
Well, 4 feet, I'd say,
Yeah,
for the net.
and then you got.
So how would that work, I wonder? Yeah, so those discussions.
Yeah, so,
Anyway,
Yeah.
What we said in the report was that, the association is in discussion with staff about changing it, with the understanding that, and I said in my report, with the understanding that they pay for any expenses incurred, but it was also that, it has to be feasible. So we left it with the people who know because I don't, and, as a committee, we kind of have to trust that if they do make this decision, it will be easy to implement, fixable, and at no cost to us.
Cool. Anybody else? Discussion? Any other items? Okay, all those in favor indicate with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Contrary-minded? Passed. And you have no recommendations,
No
right?
recommendations, thank you.
Okay, so let's move to Finance Admin and Policy. And Councillor Pomeroy or Councillor?
It would be me
Yeah,
this
okay.
time.
Councillor Brumfield, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Finance Administration and Policy Committee met on Monday, March the 18th at 4:45 in the boardroom. Present was myself, Hayward Broomfield acting in the chair, and Councillor Todd Winters, and regrets were from Councillor Bert Pomeroy. Staff present were the DFO Mike Dolmont, SAT Kelsey Shellswell, EA Executive Assistant Kathy Eddy, and CDM Greg Osmond. Regrets were from Councillor Bert Pomeroy and CIO Nadine McCauley. The meeting was called to order at 4:45 and it was approval with no additions and there was no delegates. We reviewed your previous minutes and action items and no errors or omissions were noted, so we moved on to the current one. We reviewed the action item updates, and there was actually 4 of them. One of them was we have provided a list of the not-for-profits that we have processed in the last 5 years. We were also provided with a copy of our not-for-profit policy. We were provided a copy of our donations list for the last 5 years. And we provided an NPS request for tax information on 4 particular properties. So that was the action items were all done or being worked on. So then we moved into the new business, and we had 2 donation requests. One from the Special Physical Equipment Committee for Seniors, and another donation request from the Happy Valley Goose Bay Recyclers. And I have 2 recommendations on both of those requests, which I'll read when we go into that. Next items we had 3 requests for taxation of business or property. So we had the Ladder Creative Festival of Arts put in a request for a business tax exemption. The Labrador Hunting and Fishing Association also put in a request for business taxation. And again, the Labrador Hunting and Fishing Association also put in another request for property tax. All of these taxation requests we have deferred because we are in the process of working on our donations policy. So all of these will be reviewed when we come back and make that policy. And we're trying to get this policy right, and it's not going to happen overnight. That's why we're deferring it. Hopefully we'll have something by September, I'm hoping, on the donations policy. Next thing we had, they also had a request for a mill rate reduction on Mud Lake Road, which I have a recommendation on that as well. The other business are just information items only, and there's 3 of them. We have a letter attached from the Royal Bank, basically stating they'll be charging us a $1,000 fee for each beginning in March 15th due to annual audit reports not being updated or provided, because we're 3 years behind and still working on them. We also have a meeting request for a larger venue, which we denied because we can't move our equipment to different venues for live streaming, that kind of thing. And then we have a pay simply information item that was just provided for councilors to review. So the meeting adjourned at 4:45. No, the meeting adjourned at 5:21, and the date of the next meeting was scheduled for April the 15th at 4:45.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Brumfield. It's been moved by Councillor Brumfield that we accept the Finance and Policy Committee report as presented. Seconded by Councillor Winters. Discussion? I just have one point. In the minutes, it says in a lot of places that, I'll just give you an example, information was provided and agreed to defer, agreed to deny, agreed. I think it should be recommended. Right? I don't think, because there's no decisions made at that table.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe some way to reflect that. Yeah, because there's other ones that we agreed to.
Well, that's what they do have to recommend. No, that's yours.
Yeah. So, like for instance, on the
Yes.
the specs ones you're going to have,
Yeah.
it says agreed to approve a monetary donation, but that would only happen once it comes here, right? So agreed to recommend a monetary, and then we get the recommendations here. So maybe.
No, but
just,
my recommendation says FAP committee recommends.
yeah, but in the minutes of your report,
Oh, okay.
yeah, in the package in the minutes,
Yeah.
if
Oh,
they
okay, I got you,
instead of
yes.
saying agreed to approve,
Yeah,
I would suggest recommend.
Just for clarity, the minutes are from the committee.
Yep.
At the committee level, so when is the committee agreeing to bring it forward?
Yep.
To council, so it's not
Right.
to be interpret it as council has agreed or approved?
Right. Well, that's the way it reads, like it says, provided and agreed to approve a monetary
It was
donation.
committee.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
But if somebody's reading it, then the decision was made at committee, which is not the way
Yeah.
we're going.
Just to
Anyway,
indicate
just-
that's not council
Yeah.
minutes.
Just to my point. Councillor Compton Hobbs.
I got a question. Council Broomfield, you mentioned a not-for-profit policy. I know Labrador Hunting and Fishing Association's on there tonight, but they've come forward many times, and like, do we have a time
Okay.
frame of
Can
when
we
this policy might?
just hold that one? Let's approve the thing and then we'll go into your conversation. All right, so any other discussion on the report? Okay, all those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Nay question, Councillor Compton House. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, is there a timeline on when that policy might be completed?
Well, we don't have a timeline, excuse me, but we're hoping to have it done by September, for the simple fact is, but now we're into going into April. This is a Lyme week, and our staff will not be able to do stuff we asked, because we're taking time, we want to get it right, and we asked them to provide information like she's done in the last, on this one here, for example, providing all of the list of not-for-profits and so on, right? So
So-
those will take time.
So if they didn't, if they hadn't paid in 2022, 2020, I don't know, I'm just asking, can the policy be backdated?
No, can't go back to previous years.
Just going forward, so like,
Yes.
pretty sure they put in requests for 2022 and
Yeah.
2023.
Yeah. Councillor Palmer.
Yeah, just to add on to what Councilor Broomfield said, we've had several meetings as a committee to discuss developing a policy that's fair and equitable, and like Councilor Broomfield said, we want to make sure we do it right. And we're not going to please everybody, and we realize that, but at the same time, we have to do what's fair. And so we're looking at ways that could be fair to everybody, and it's clear, and there's no questions as to who would fall under the policy, and we need to do it right. So we're not there yet, but we've made a lot of progress in the last couple of months. So, and I think we'll continue to move forward, and hopefully we can get something that council can accept.
Yeah, and we continue to work on it, which is the main thing, right? Any other discussion about that one? Okay, so we've already voted on that, so that's a good one. So you have a number of recommendations, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, floor is
We
yours.
have 5 recommendations.
Okay.
And the first one is the donation request from the Special Committee of Special Physical Olympic Elders Committee Seniors. Donation request for the SPECS. The FAP Committee recommends Council approve a monetary donation in the amount of $500 to Special Physical Equipment Committee for Seniors.
Okay, moved by Councillor Broomfield that we approve a monetary donation to Specs in the amount of $500. Seconded by Councillor Winters. Discussion?
I got a
Councillor
question on
Palmer.
this one.
Or sorry, Councillor Compton Hobbs.
Sorry. Is there a reason you went 500 and not 1,000? Because in previous years it was always 1,000.
I thought it was only 500 they asked, was it? I don't remember.
Councillor Rumbold.
Just looking at the briefing note in our package, past donations range from 250 to 1,000, so, yeah.
Was there any discussion around $1,000 donation, or was just $500 was made?
I'm pretty sure that's what they asked for.
Yeah.
No, there's no asking,
No, there was no
there's no asking amount. But the past few years, I know it was 1,000. That program is well used at the Friendship Center, that senior spec program. So I'm just wondering.
Any other discussion? All right, none being heard. All those in favor of approving the monetary donation indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Passed. Next one, sir.
Okay, the next one is a mill rate request. The FAP Committee recommends Council deny a mill rate change to Power ID 203961 to follow the Town of Happy Valley Goose Bay's Development Regulations 2018 and 2028 and the Municipalities Act 1999.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Brumfield and the FAP Committee that we deny a mill rate change for parcel ID 203961. Seconded by? Seconded by Councillor Winters. Discussion? Okay, none being heard. All those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Passed. Next one, sir.
Okay, the next one is another donation request. A donation request from the Happy Valley Goose Bay Recyclers. The FAP committee recommends council deny a monetary donation in the amount of $7,000 to the Happy Valley Goose Bay Recyclers.
Okay, it's moved by Councillor Brumfield and the FAP committee that we deny a monetary donation request in the amount of $7,000 to HVGB Recyclers. Seconded by Councillor Winters. Discussion? Councillor Palmer.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Unfortunately, I was not at the meeting and couldn't take part in any discussion. I'm a little disappointed that I'm not sure how much consideration was given to their request for donation, but the amount that they're asking for pales in comparison to the positive impact that they're having on our community and the amount of materials that's taken out of our landfill, all by a volunteer group of people. We do have a donation budget. I think that we need to look at that whole budget, as Councillor Broomfield indicated earlier, and come up with a way to deal with it. There are a lot of good groups in this community that deserve a little bit of help now and then, and they're benefiting our community overall, benefiting the landfill. There's a lot of work that they do, and get a little recognition for it, and everything they get is basically through donations from the community itself. And I would hope that at some point we would step up as a town and support groups like the recycling group.
Councillor
okay.
just Councillor Compton.
I was just gonna ask, was there any discussion around any amount of donation or just flat no?
Flat no,
So,
because we provided them for the insurance, right?
$800 a year.
they take out an awful lot of recyclables out
Oh,
of this
yeah.
community.
Okay, Councillor Winters.
A lot of the discussion during the meeting surrounded our policy regarding donations, and our policy, I'm pretty sure, states we're only allowed to sponsor up to $1,000. So we can't go against policy unless policy is changed.
So what in?
Okay, just Councillor Brumfield, please. Councillor Brumfield, please. Then Councillor Palmer, and then Councillor Compton.
Yeah, because, well, we denied this one outright because they asked for $7,000 and we just could not afford $7,000 because the largest donation we have made is $5,000 to the library. $7,000 is really coming right out of the blue from here. This would really be a budget item if you want to do that each year.
Yeah, it's unfortunate it didn't come into budget, but Councillor Palmer.
Yeah, and yes, we do provide $5,000 to the library, which is great. We have provided much more than $1,000 donations. I believe with the Salvation Army Kettle Fund at the end of the year is $2,500. We've given the SPCA the same amount. So, you know, I think some consideration should be given to this group that are doing such a great job in our community. And instead of just like, sure, we pay, they're in our building. We're covering their insurance in our building, which is great. We should be doing more of that. And we need to be promoting it a bit more. I mean, I have no interest whatsoever with the group other than I'm taking my recyclables there. And I pay them to take my recyclables away. And if more people did it, we wouldn't have as much of a mess as we do at the landfill. It would save the lifeline of our landfill by several years for sure. And we should be promoting that. And just an outright no because we're covering their insurance, that just don't cut it with me. Sorry.
One more comment, Mayor.
Councillor Compton House, yeah.
I mean, I think we should bring it back to the committee and have it discussed, like, even if we gave $1,000, rather than saying flat no and give them nothing.
Councillor Winters had a request, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think, again, we need to go back, this goes back to our donations policy completely. If we do this, then we're going against our actual policy, and this is where this has to change. I agree with Councillor Pomeroy and the work that they do, but we have policy. What's the point of having policy if we're not going to follow it? If we need to change it, let's amend it. That's strictly where I'm to with it. I really agree wholeheartedly that what they're doing is great, but again, we have to follow policy on pretty much everything that we do. Why are we doing it differently here? What I feel we need to do is change the policy.
Or based on council discretion. I believe that's in there.
Okay, Councillor Brumfield, you were going to say something?
No, I'm...
Okay, you're good. All right, so, you know, I mean, it never precludes us from having a conversation and bringing stuff to committee. This particular request was asked, I guess, for $7,000, and at this time, committee recommends that we don't do it. but it's not to say that it can't come back in some form or fashion. And, I mean, that's the prerogative of any councillor here to, or group, of course, to bring things back. So, any other further discussion on this one before anything new? Okay. So this recommends to deny. So all those in favor of denying the monetary donation indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Okay, we have denied the monetary donation. Next one, sir.
Okay, next one is a property tax exemption request from the Labrador Hunting and Fishing Association. The FAP committee recommends council deny a property tax exemption on Power ID 275895 in the amount of $1,496.88 for the tax year 2023.
Okay, it's recommended by Councillor Brumfield and the FAP committee that we deny property tax exemption for parcel ID 275895 in the amount of $1,496.88. Seconded by Councillor Winters. Discussion. Councillor Compton Hobbs had her finger up first, sir.
I just want to say again, I've said it in the past and I'll say it again, Labrador Hunting and Fishing Association is a nonprofit organization that is trying to bring something big and much needed in our community, a marina. That they're trying to raise funds to build down there, so I won't be supporting this. And the quicker we can get the nonprofit policy right, I know we got to get it right, for the different organizations in the community, the better.
Okay, Councillor Palmer, did you?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, and as Councillor Broomfield mentioned in the report, that the policy is not completed. We're working through it, yet we're making a decision based on the old policy.
Yeah.
And I think that, for me, I can't support this until we have a policy in place.
Yep.
And we've committed to the public that we're going to have a policy in place. Whether everybody agrees with it or not, it'll be something that we would follow.
And if I'm,
roadmap
yeah.
that we can go down the road with. So I can't support this.
And at the same time, it doesn't preclude them from, once we get the policy done, from coming back and asking if they fit into policy or coming back and asking for that exemption. Anything further? Deputy Mayor?
Thank you. I'm of the same vein, or same agreeance with Councillor Pomeroy and Councillor Compton Hobbs in the fact of saying we're denying it. Why not just defer or not even bring it to the table yet? Why are we bringing it forward to say we're denying if the policy is not even completed? I know the policy is something we have to get correct. I know that, having been on the committee last year. I think it was last year. But we do need to put time into it. I'm not saying it hasn't been. I can understand there's been discussions and time and lengthy discussions on this, but whether it is meeting and we put an afternoon or a day to it solely on this to get an answer, for it to take another 6 months, we just have to get this done. I understand getting it right, but we have to actually do it.
Well, we are working towards that, though.
Yeah.
Councillor Rumbold.
My question was going to be the same, to ask if we voted to deny this, they come back with the exact same request again. Why not defer it? That's where my confusion is. As well.
I don't know why it came to the table again. It's the same as we're spending,
Okay.
time debating on something that, yes, they would like an answer, but the answer is that we are working on the policy and there is hard work going towards that. And at that time, then we should consider the exemption. So, anyway, it's here before us now. Any other further discussion? Okay, so all those in favor of denying tax exemption on that parcel, 275895, indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Passed. Okay, next one.
Okay, which one? Okay, the last one I have is a business tax exemption request. Business tax exemption request to Labrador Hunting and Fishing Association. The FAP committee recommends council deny a business tax exemption on part ID 275895002 in the amount of $544.32 for the tax year 2023.
Okay, it's moved by Councillor Brumfield and the FAP committee that we deny business tax exemption request on parcel ID 275895002 in the amount of $544.32. Seconded by Councillor Winters. Discussion. Councillor Rumble.
Just to ask the question, okay, so the policy that we're working on for not-for-profits, That's not for business tax, right? That's just for property tax?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, so this one is completely
No,
different.
would
This
it-
is the
yeah,
one
no,
that
no,
we- no?
I think it's
It is a
the
part of
same
okay,
policy, right? Yeah.
That's all I needed
Yeah.
to know. Thank you.
Any other discussion? So this really just fits in with the same one that we just
Well,
have.
I'd like
Councillor
to add
Broomfield.
on that
Yeah.
we did reduce the mill rate for business tax for not-for-profits too, remember?
Yeah.
Cut it in half, which is quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think all that's under review as well, as part of the policy.
Yeah. Okay, all those in favor of denying this business tax exemption request on the parcel 275895002 indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary minded? It's defeated. So we didn't deny it.
Wording again.
So we're right back to where we were again. Yep.
I think the motion should be written to either approve.
They're written the wrong way.
Well, the thing is that, yeah, it should be one way or the other. So we're right where we are a year and a half ago with the business tax one. Okay. Any other, you're finished with your recommendations, sir?
All done, sir.
Okay. All right, we'll move now into Municipal and Protective Services Committee. Deputy Mayor Wallace.
Great, thank you, Mayor. The Municipal and Protective Services Committee met on March 11th. Present was myself, Councillor Jackie Compton-Hobbs, Councillor Todd Winters, Director of Engineering Randy Dillon, Director of Protective Services Brad Butler, Superintendent of Water and Sewer Keith Pye, Superintendent of Public Works Randy Chambers, and Executive Assistant Kathy Eddy. Regrets from Nadine McCauley. Meeting was called to order at 4:45 with no delegations. Agenda was approved with 3 additional items added to new business. Minutes were reviewed with no errors or omissions. Action items were reviewed and updates noted. Public Works Department presented crews performing regular seasonal duties. Depot maintenance is ongoing. Cleanup of depot and reorganizing equipment and material. Heavy equipment fleet maintenance is ongoing. The Sterling sand truck was down and had to replace both sand belts and welding on the box. There was a total of 210 sand loads as of beginning of this at our committee meeting at March 6, 2024. Engineering Department, the lift station upgrades IFA documents have been submitted, reviewed, and approved. Tender documents are being prepared and are expected to be submitted soon for construction this summer. D42 station upgrades, delays were encountered in getting the ground penetrating radar. This is now being resolved and the IFA documents are expected to be submitted soon with construction again for this summer. Snow guard installation application is being made by the Department of Municipal Affairs for approval to proceed with this project under the Canada Community Building Fund, the gas tax fund, for the town's share. Road intersection upgrades and RFPs being issued for the engineering work, and contract has been issued to Harborside Engineering. Topographic surveys have been completed and IFR documents have been submitted. Construction is scheduled for 2024 construction season. Project is to be tendered shortly. For the depot relocation and occupancy permits being requested by CGI and necessary documents for fire life safety inspection have been completed. Inspections being conducted by town staff, and consideration of acceptance for occupancy of the building is under review. Fire department, 2 sets of globe bunker gear on order with delivery date of March. Clothing for firefighters and volunteer firefighters are on order with a delivery date for June. An application for fire department funding gone to the FCC, the Farm Credit Canada, received a reply for a $2,000 grant towards new and upgraded fire and wetland pumps and associated equipment. Fire department training schedule has resumed and is running smoothly. The fire department will be running the program for 11 months of the year, with a break in the month of December. The Guns and Hoses tournament, the hockey tournament, is March 27th, an event between the fire and police departments, with this year's proceeds and monetary donations going to the Kids Eat Smart program. The Municipal Enforcement Department monthly report shows a total of 74 incidents calls in February. These include door knocks, snowmobile regulations, animal controls, and others. The Police Department report provided their call-out report, and it reveals a total of 444 occurrences compared to 379 in 2023 at the same time. All managers' reports are available for review in the council package. New business items that were discussed. The volunteer firefighting training was discussed at length. Councillor Compton-Hobbs asked for clarification surrounding the mandatory attendance required for a weekly firefighter training. The Director of Protective Services confirmed that weekly training is required for all volunteer firefighters to attend. There is an expectation to attend weekly meetings, be present, and respond to fires. There is also a percentage of attendance that must be maintained for fire calls. There have been complaints of town staff receiving snow clearing from town vehicles. The Superintendent of Public Works advised there is a very limited list to those receiving snow clearing, and that includes only volunteer firefighters and doctors, and under no circumstances are staff in this list. Randy Chambers advised that he will brief his staff to advise that snow clearing is a privilege and will ensure that snow clearing is not for any town staff members. A safety plan is being updated and reviewed for all council. This plan ensures the safety of all staff and council, ensuring the protocols for capacity requirements are maintained, and use of town hall boardrooms, lobby, and offices are not permitted. The new dozer has been delivered to the landfill. The outgoing dozer will be tendered as it's no longer required. There was discussion regarding Voisey Drive traffic during the morning lunch and after-school pickups at drop-off hours. The entrance and exits from the school to Voisey Drive should be approached with a zipper merge practice to assist in the wait to access Voisey Drive from the school. Unfortunately, without a third lane to assist cars turning right on Kelland, there is a backup of vehicles. The meeting was adjourned at 5:40 p.m. and the next meeting is scheduled for April 8th at 4:45 p.m. Please accept this as having my report being read.
It's been moved by Deputy Mayor Wallace that we accept the Municipal and Protective Services Committee as presented and reported. Seconded by Councillor Winters. Discussion. Okay, none being heard. All those in favour indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Passed. Approval of checks. Mr. Councillor Palmer.
Yes, Your Worship, I just got a couple of questions on the checks. Do we?
Go right ahead.
I'm just wondering about check number 364.
NG.
Yeah, I just have no idea what that's for.
That's for the Reaching Home program, where they're looking after the housing home.
It's in relation to the housing hall?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll have to
Yeah.
remove myself.
Why is it coming to the town?
Because it was our agreement with Reaching Home, they provide us with funds.
Okay, so is it us?
Contract was from the previous
Right.
Is that Reaching Home NL?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So is this, so I don't know if I'm in conflict or not.
What I would suggest is you ask council if you're in conflict.
You can ask council, I can
Okay.
remove myself.
No. Yep.
If I'm in
Are you?
conflict on that one.
Okay, so if first off, if you just wanted to, just 1 second, Councillor, just 1 moment. Ms. McCauley, can you just explain that again? What it is? You're probably closer to the mic so people.
Sorry, it's not with that far. Several years ago, Reaching Home NL contacted the town about a funding agreement to provide housing support services personnel. Like, I'm not sure exactly what if it's an outreach work or something else, but it has to do with the staffing of the housing hub. And we entered into agreement with Reaching Home NL, and then we entered into a subsequent agreement with NG to actually perform, because the town does not have the ability or the capacity
Okay.
to provide those
So
services.
we've entered into a contract with NG as well?
Correct.
Okay,
So
It's
this
an
is an
outreach
invoice
work.
from NG.
so,
Your
all right.
invoice from-
So any other questions, Councillor Head?
Just, I can
Yep.
clarify that, Nadine mentioned, it's an outreach worker position that was put in place several years ago.
Okay, but we do have a contract with NG.
That's who the
Yeah.
invoice is from.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's fully funded by Reaching Home NL,
Yeah.
not by the town, but it has to flow through the town.
Because,
Money in and money out.
yeah, so at the end of the day, if somebody else was running the shelter, that money would go to them.
Yes.
So we're just the kind of, that cost.
We're just the in and out.
Correct.
So really, there's no, I don't see a conflict, but we'll vote, I guess, quickly. Those that are would find Councillor Pomeroy in conflict in this particular issue indicate with aye. All those against that? Okay, you're not in conflict, sir. Continue on with that one.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Is there another one?
There's just a couple of more. Check 27334 Connors. It just says Connors. I have no idea what that could even be.
What's the number again, sir?
Right here.
Last,
Is it electrical?
I have no idea.
921.
921.15.
First page.
Connors.
27334.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. Is it a contractor or?
I'm not sure, I haven't looked at the checks.
Okay. Okay.
Probably same.
Okay. What do you want to do? Want to just pull that to be checked?
Yeah, I'd like to know what they are before I'm voting on them.
Sure. Yeah.
Most of them are straightforward. There
Yep.
was one more.
Yep.
Actually, two more. J.A. Laurie, Inc., for the amount of $1,115.03. Check 347.
Yeah. J.A. LaRue Incorporated?
Lou?
They're generally heavy equipment parts.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. And Saunders Equipment Limited.
I think they're pumps or something.
372, Saunders Equipment Limited. Is that?
Do they rewind motors or something?
I think that one is something for the arena, the cutting blades, perhaps for the arena, Zamboni, the shaver
Okay.
things or whatever.
Yeah, sharpen them or
I can
something.
double check,
Yeah.
but I will give it.
I have seen that Saunders equipment before, though.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
So, did you want to take the 915 out and approve it next month?
No, I just don't know what it is.
Okay, so can you just provide us with,
I'm just curious
Yeah.
as to what it might
just provide us with the information on the 921.15, right? For just Connors?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, sir. Floor is yours again.
All right. I move that council approve checks in the amount of $1,492,740.35.
Okay, it's moved by Councillor Pomeroy and the FAP committee. We approve checks in the amount of $1,492,740.35. Seconded by
I'll second that.
Councillor Compton Hobbs. Discussion, I assume we just had. Okay, all those in favour indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Passed.
Can I ask a question outside of this? Still doing with the check.
Oh, okay.
The Brent tractor one for 745,000. Is that the amount we budgeted? Is that over or under?
Brent. Which Brent?
That's the
Brent.
track- the
Second one from the
Dump.
top.
The landfill tractor. Oh.
Yeah. Is that the amount we actually budgeted? Is that?
8690, isn't it?
No.
Oh, up top. Okay, there's two there for Brent, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
We had budgeted $500,000 from last year's budget, which did carry over for capital purchases, and the remainder came from savings that were found in the Public Works Department budget that was committed.
What do you mean, like we carry over half a million? Like, we're on a cash basis, we can't be doing that. Unless we actually do physically put it in a different account.
The capital purchases have always been carried over if they weren't spent the year that they were first approved.
But what, no, was this like through a funding program?
No,
So we're paying for it all ourselves, so no, that's not correct, well, we're gonna be in trouble. That's all my comment on that one.
Okay, so can we just verify that? Just get the information around that? It's not the first time we've done that, though.
no.
Yeah. Okay, any other discussion on the checks? Then I'll move into, of course, the manager's report here for FAP, and nothing else there. Councillors' forum. And I'll start with the deputy mayor tonight.
Wait,
Hey.
imagine. Caught me
See,
off
I
guard.
remembered. No, I was just joking. No, go ahead.
I'd like to thank staff in town of Happy Valley Goose Bay, friends, everyone in Goose Bay for love and support for my family during this difficult time, and the loss of my father. It means a lot. Congratulations to all Lake Melville Extreme hockey teams on their hard work at the provincial tournaments over the last couple of weekends. We have another team heading out over the Easter break, or teams in the Easter break. Months of training and dedicated hours from players, coaching staff, coordinators, and families go into these trips. The planning preparations of getting to these tournaments are mammoth, so congratulations to all of you. It's with a broken heart that we say goodbye to my dear friend Carolyn Hong. Carolyn was thoughtful, kind, had a brilliant mind. She gave so much time to the town of Happy Valley Goose Bay. Community service was extremely important for her. She was a humble and hardworking volunteer on the organizing committees of many associations and organizations, and responsible for air and ground transportation with the Lab Winter Games. She was involved with the beginnings of Boise Bay and Beyond, Grenfell Health Board, 2 terms as president with the Rotary Club locally of Happy Valley Goose Bay, and she was recognized with the Paul Harris Fellowship Award there as well. She was an early morning a regular with the Kids Eat Smart program, the SPCA, and many initiatives with the United Church family. We're sending our deepest condolences to Perry and her family and wish strength and courage during the difficult time that they face. A huge congratulations going out to our very own Mealy Mountain Collegiate Grade 12 student and our friend Gargi Kashal. Gargi has won a gold medal at the Labrador Central and Western Science Fair for her project titled Effectiveness of Natural Antibiotics from Different Cultures and Western Medicine against Streptococcus salivarius. Gargi was also awarded the Niti Panu Prize, which is one of 2 best projects from rural Newfoundland Labrador, and the 2024 Biogenius Canada Award, Best Biotechnology Project. She'll be traveling in May to join Science Team NL at the Canada-wide Science Fair in Ottawa. Congratulations, Gargi. We're very, very proud of your achievements. Wishing everyone, before we meet again, and obviously council meeting, wishing everyone a very happy Easter.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Wallace. Councillor Pomeroy.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. I just want to address what I believe is at the heart or part of the reason why we're in our financial situation as we are. And while I agree town employees deserve a safe work environment and that the current depot has outlived its usefulness, leasing another building that we can't afford is not the best answer, I don't think. It's evident that our town has had to make difficult decisions due to budget constraints, partly due to the additional expense of leasing a building for our municipal depot. Despite not being involved in the decision to lease the building, because I was not a part of the council at that time, I still think that was the decision that lacked a lot of foresight. We didn't know where the money was coming from. As a result, taxpayers had to bear the burden of increased property taxes and water and sewer fees this year, and we had to cut one of our municipal enforcement officers' positions, something that I certainly didn't want to see done, but it was something that we had no choice to do based on the financial situation we were in. I think that, you know, we could, if we were not struck or our hands are tied with this lease, we could have probably done things a little bit different, but hindsight is what it is. I'm not saying that the lease is the only reason why, but it certainly, it took basically $24,000 that we had to come up with this year, and not knowing where it had to come from. It had to come off the backs of the taxpayers, and it ended up resulting in staff changes, and we lost a very good municipal enforcement officer. And I advocated for years to have 2 positions there. Very pleased that we had 2 people that were doing a great job in my view, and then we had to come to a point where we had to, and it's not an easy decision to make. I don't think any of us wanted to make that decision. It was a very difficult decision to make, and I wish that we didn't have to make it. Looking ahead, we must acknowledge that almost more than 16 months later from signing that lease, we're still not in the building. And moving forward, we must plan strategically for the future, especially when the lease expires in 5 years. What are we going to do in 5 years? I don't think we've had any discussions yet as to what's going to happen at the end of that lease. Where are we going to go? What if the owner of the building wants their building back? What are we going to do then? None of those discussions have been made around my presence in the last year and a month or so. I also want to note that our options are really limited. We don't have any other options at this point. And the current depot, from what I understand, is still going to be operating, which I was led to believe that that building would be shut down and wouldn't be an extra cost to the town. So you're compounding the cost even more. Just a comment, Mayor, that you had made during the CBC interview regarding this year's budget. You basically attributed the town's financial struggles to the YMCA. And I think that was, in my view, that's very misleading, given the point that we got $524,000 added to our budget that was not there before. And I should note, the YMCA, it was a project that was developed with full public consultation. Consultation went on for well over 2 years, and we had a lot of input from a lot of groups, a lot of associations, a lot of people throughout wherever we can get input. We wanted input to try and do this right. Is it perfect? No. But I tell you, the parking lot is full pretty well every day. It's being utilized, and I see people online talking about what a wonderful facility we got. Is it perfect? No, nothing is perfect. But it's better than what we had, and much better than what we could have ever expected. And there was nothing mentioned in the interview about the situation with the depot. The annual cost of leasing the depot far exceeds the operational cost of the YMCA. This year, the YMCA in 2023 managed to operate effectively with a cost of just over $330,000. That was what was envisioned when this whole project began back in the day. It was envisioned that the town, of course, the town's not going to run it for free. You got to run a facility. It's not going to operate it by itself. We own the building. We own the facility. And I think that's a pretty good deal for a $30 million building that we own, yet we're throwing away $524,000 a year on a building that we will never own. That's my views. I know other people might have different things to say, and I understand. You know, I hear brought up often, oh, our audits are not done, our audits weren't done, and this is what, no, I mean, that's easy to say, just because the audits aren't done, right? That's easy to do, right? Not my fault, blame it on the other crowd. I mean, we're here as a council now to try to make the best of this. Also, the decision to purchase an electric bus raised serious concerns for me. I agree that such a service would benefit the community. No problem with it, if an operator can be found. At this point, we don't even know who's going to operate that bus. And, you know, I've had a lot of people call me on that. There's been media done on this. People are saying, well, what's going on now? It's been 2 months or a month and a half since we've heard anything about the bus. If we can't find the funding, I think we'll either have to refuse the delivery of the bus, or we'll just take it and put it in front of the town office and people could admire it. Because it's going to cost us, based on estimates, over $200,000 a year just to operate it. And when we talk about the Y at $330,000 a year, and some members of council question whether that was a right project to do and is costing us and is a financial burden on our community, yet we go ahead and we look at a bus that's going to cost us $210,000 a year. I don't see the logic in that. I really don't. But anyway, I mean, don't want to blame. All I'm saying is that we need to deal with the root causes of our financial challenges and come to reality. We are here as a council right now. We got issues that we got to deal with, but we should never, ever ignore the elephant that's in the room. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Councillor Rumbold.
Thank you, Mayor. I have absolutely nothing prepared, and as somebody who can tend to be long-winded, I'm sure that's a relief in some respects. So I just have a couple of really short things. My very first thing I'd like to say is a sincere and genuine thank you to the 2 delegates that spoke to us this evening. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm a real stickler for rules and policies and procedures. That's just who I am. It's what makes me who I am. And when people, there are ways to do things, and, you know, if you have an opinion, you have something that you want to say, then, you know, following the rules and the policies and procedures is a way to have your voice heard. No, there's no debate. There's no exchange. But, you know, respect is something that is very important to me. I respectfully listened to the delegates with nothing but an open heart and kindness and respect. I ask that myself, my fellow councillors, our families are afforded the same respect. And I'll leave that at that. 2 other things, even though Deputy Mayor Wallace spoke eloquently of Caroline Hong. I think this is worth repeating. I'd like to give my personal condolences to Perry, the Trimper families, the Hong family, and Caroline's very, very special dog, Cracker, who was by her side and I'm sure provided much comfort to her when she wasn't well. We are thinking of them all and sending nothing but the absolute most love to those families as they go through this very trying time. The only other thing I wanted to mention, I previously mentioned, was the Guns N' Hoses hockey game is taking place at the arena tomorrow at 7. And the proceeds this time, they always pick a charity. The proceeds this time will go to the Kids Eat Smart Breakfast, school breakfast program. So I'd love to, I will be there. I'll be cheering for the firefighters. I gotta put that out there. But I would love to see a great attendance as we support what is a worthwhile cause. And that's it from, oh, and happy Easter to everybody coming up. Thank you.
Let's go to Councillor Compton-Hobbs.
Yeah, I'd like to send my condolences. Obviously, I reached out to MEJ Perry Trimper. I had the privilege of sitting with Caroline several times at events over the years. She was a wonderful woman. She's done a lot for the community of Happy Valley Goose Bay, and she surely will be missed. I want to bring up trails again because we had spring for a flash month or 3 weeks or whatever, and now we got winter again, but spring is coming fast, and we noticed when the snow was gone that our trails are horrible. The bike trail's non-existent almost. So I'm hoping that staff will be behind the scenes looking for some funding to upgrade our deplorable trails, and that Rick Daw is able to get out and move around and maneuver around trails this summer. I want to talk about just briefly the Capital Crane lease, $42,000 a month. Unfortunately, we had to make a decision, and cutting staff is hard. Municipal Enforcement Officer Tanya Michelin did an excellent job in that role, and it's sad that we're paying out all that money for that lease that I am totally against, and it was voted on before my time too. And you all know that I've brought it up several times, and I don't support it. And it's a shame that we had to come down to staff. I wanted to say too that I know we can't talk about HR matters, but I wanted to say I'm a very, very strong woman. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm a very strong woman. I have been my whole life. But to watch Travis Ford here tonight was heart-wrenching, heart-wrenching, heart-wrenching. And I just want to say, if anybody's listening, take care of yourself, Travis. Take care of your health. It's very important. And I'll just leave it at that.
Councillor Brumfield.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. I'm keeping it short and sweet, Easter weekend and all. I would like to acknowledge the two delegates that came here and did their presentation. I feel for them. I know I've been in that situation myself, but I'll leave it at that. I'd like to send our condolences to Perry Trimper and his family. And I know both of them are heavily involved in lots of stuff in this community, so she will be missed, no doubt about that, right? I would like to mention, Councilor Rumble mentioned the Guns N' Hoses hockey tomorrow night, but we also have one tomorrow afternoon, don't we, with the base in the town?
Been deferred to.
Postponed.
Oh, okay. So that one was deferred. Well, my final comments, I'd like to wish everyone a happy Easter weekend and enjoy your long weekend. Thank you.
Councillor Winters.
Thank you, Mayor. I just got a couple of things again that I got to stress about Ms. Hong. Worked extensively with her at the Winter Games. There's not a more dedicated volunteer and such a beautiful person to deal with. And just sincere condolences to Perry and the Hong family. One other thing would be congratulations to Darren Densmore and the Snowy Mountain Ski Club for getting $10,000 grant for improvements to that facility. This goes to prove that when grants are applied for, people understand that the town does not come up with a lot of money. This is something that I think goes a long way with active, healthy living and building up the town. So congratulations to Mr. Densmore, and it's actually a successful application. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Councillor Winters. A couple of things I want to send just to redress, I guess, Councillor Pomeroy's comments. The difficult situation that we were in, it was that we faced with a facility that was occupationally health safety-wise, like I said, outlived its usefulness. It was going to cost an awful lot of money to fix that up in order to make it workable. It's been there since 1970 something, but the unfortunate position we were in was that we had to do something. The minister had us on a restriction because of audits not being done. We weren't able to. We did get special permission to go to a 5-year lease instead of 3-year, because that was the maximum. So it's easy to say that we always come back to that, but that is a huge thing that has been around our neck, and we are trying to work on it. We've lost municipal operating grants because of it, in the tune of $200 and something thousand. That same amount of money that could have fixed the bus or done the bus for a year. So it's difficult. So we had to make a decision. We made a decision to go with the lease. Were there other options? No, but it gives us that 5-year window to try and develop something that will be sustainable going forward. That's the position we're in, and I believe we're still in that same position with an audit hopefully 2020 coming up in 2021, coming up for completion in April. And hopefully we won't lose our municipal operating grant for that. So yeah, difficult decisions. Going forward in terms of the bus, we should be progressive. The bus, basically we're being totally funded for the purchase of the bus for the most part. And of the $200,000, if my mistake, I think we got $100,000 of that from the province. So the benefit, I think, to the bus, it's similar to your discussions about the Y. I think I used the Y as an example of the cost. It's the operating cost, but also there's a capital cost to the Y as well. Just like anything else we build in town, we have to pay for it. So there's a mortgage, for lack of a better word, on that building, plus the operational cost. And, that's a cost of doing business, and that's there. So when I use that as an example of some of the bigger costs, that's the one that came to me. So we were in a position, we made a decision. Hindsight is always 20/20, and it's easier to look at that. But at the time, that was what the decision that we made, given the options that we had. One of the big things I just want to reiterate is please be careful on the ice. There's still some snow, of course, and people are still going. I've heard of people that have gone through. Please don't have to engage our ground search and rescue team. Just be very careful, and just don't go anywhere where you're not sure or someone with you is not sure. My last item is, or second last item, is the Notre Dame agencies. I would like to congratulate the Notre Dame agencies family for having confidence in our community and building the beautiful building and the store that they have up there. It's definitely, it sort of puts us in line with that particular store with similar vendors of recreational products as you go outside. So it was nice to see. I attended the opening, and it's great. So Steve and team down there and the Notre Dame Agents family, they've been around our community for a long time, and I just said, I passed greetings on, and I thanked them for continued confidence, because it is a huge investment, and it's good for them. Finally, I just want to address this evening's. We have been advised that we're not to discuss HR items. It's been tremendously hard for myself, and I know for other councillors, the issue that we're dealing with. But unfortunately, we can't engage, or we can't discuss the HR item. To reach out to individuals that would result in a road of conversation that leads and is related to the HR item is very difficult. But I will say that to see Travis here today, the personal attacks, I'm not a big fan of that, but I understand what the frustration. So the personal attacks is kind of, it hits home big time. For me, not being able to reach out or not being able to help someone in need is a bit very difficult for me, because that's been my whole life. I've reached out and I've helped countless people. So, like I say, to hear the personal attacks makes it very difficult. This job is not easy. We make difficult decisions. We always make the decisions what I trust is in the best interest of the town and the community, bearing a bunch of things in mind. So whether it is having to make that difficult decision to let a person go in terms of from a budgetary perspective, it's it's not easy, and it's not a flippant conversation where we just come in and say, oh, this is going to happen. It was a conversation of risk benefits, that kinds of things, and conversation that we had. So that's not easy. And our other HR item that we're dealing with now with Mr. Ford is definitely not easy. It's not easy on anybody sitting in this room, and I'm sure definitely not easy for Mr. Travis and his family. But unfortunately, we don't have the ability to discuss the HR items, and so for me, it's and other councillors sitting around the table, it's difficult. But of course, that's what we're here elected to do. With that, I just want to wish everybody a happy Easter as well. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Ukrainian New Year, Orthodox New Year, is also around the same time. And I have some friends here who will be celebrating that, I think, on the 5th or 6th of April. With that, I'm finished. Do any of the management have anything they want to bring before council? No? Everybody good? All right, I will entertain a motion to, or anybody else? Okay, motion made by Councillor Rumbold, seconded by Councillor Compton Hobbs. All those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded. Meeting's adjourned.
I'm turning blue. Oh my God. My feet, I can't feel my feet.
Last time I was dog to eat.
I can't feel my feet.